I missed an opportunity there. I really wish I'd started recording so that was the first line.
No, please don't. That's a bit weird. Uh, I mean, it's because he. Well, I mean, it is because he's away now. I mean, he. Uh, it feels so early in the morning, right? Because I can't. I think it's maybe because I didn't sleep, or I wasn't asleep yet, and I was like, "Oh, he's leaving. Have a safe trip, Pat." And, it's like, "Oh yeah." Just like didn't expect him to have to fly out so early. It must have
Yeah,
been.
I didn't realise he was
Must have
staying
been
in Heathrow the night before. I've only
yeah,
ever
it's
had
just
to do
like
Oh,
that
I can't.
once, and that was I think it might have been when I was going somewhere for work or something. But I hated it, man, because like the hotel was like actually in the airport, and because it was in the airport, it didn't have any windows or anything. And so like in place of a
oh,
window, there was like a cutout in the wall, and it was just like there was like LED lights around this like random square to make it look like daylight. It was really weird.
oh.
I
No, we,
guess
we,
I guess that makes sense. Because like if it was actually windows, then it just the noise from those windows would be catastrophic, right? Because it's just so shaky.
Oh, I assumed it was because of like well, it might be either to be fair, but I assumed it was because of people being dickheads and like shining lasers out the windows at the planes.
Yep.
cool,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's yeah, yeah, maybe actually, yeah. Just thinking about it, it's like, oh, right, you're not wrong, right? It's like people are just terrible. Uh,
The only one we stayed at was further away from the airport. I don't remember which airport it was, to be honest. Hey,
Yeah, we're
Ben.
the same. Nice.
It wasn't a good hotel though. That what I would say. It was like a dilapidated Premier Inn.
Mm.
It was okay-ish, but it felt more like a travel lodge.
I'm not sure. Well, I wouldn't be confident to like tell the difference without a logo.
Fair enough. In some areas, there is no difference.
In the one I stayed in, I think it was like Block or something like that. And I had the impression that it was quite a fancy brand, but yeah, there was like people sleeping in the hallways and stuff, and yeah, I suppose you can.
What the
It's kind of like when I saw it though, I was like, that's weird, and then I was like, I am in an airport, so you know, why not? Why wouldn't you just get into a hallway that's relatively comfortable?
So they just managed to somehow get in, but they don't have a room. So
Yeah,
they just sleep on the floor.
I'm assuming they just
Oh
like
my
followed somebody
goodness.
into the lift or something. I don't know, but
Man, that's a choice. I feel like I'd rather, I don't know, sleep on a airport seats than go through all that mess. I don't know. Anyway,
I think there's like
who
something
who, who
about
picked this
airport
film?
security. Uh, technically,
Rob.
it's either Pat or Ben because it was a roll of the dice, wasn't it?
yeah. Oh, did you say you picked this film with me?
Oh. Yeah, but it was more because I forgot who picked it. Because I was gonna say, Rob, why did you pick this film?
Because Pat chose a number, and it corresponded to a cell on a spreadsheet, and I was all right with it. Do you know what? I felt a bit of
All
like
right, why was it
Yeah.
on your list?
so I felt a bit of pressure with this pick to be honest because it was like because this is the first pick where well in particular Rachel's part of film club and there's so many films that I've been trying to get her to watch for a long time and then when last
Don't make me
week
sound difficult.
uh,
So don't make me sound difficult.
well but no it's because yeah so like last week I didn't really know what I was gonna pick and that was why we did the thing with like picking numbers and stuff and of those five films that I know it's four films, isn't it? Of those four films that I went between because of what we picked together, I was like, there are two. Well, actually three, but there was two that I was like, oh, I've wanted to show Rachel these for a while, and the two that it was between was Fargo and Trainspotting. And after the last few films we've had, I thought Trainspotting's probably a bit much. Um, but yeah, Fargo's a weird one, man. Like
Yeah.
I don't really remember a time where like I didn't know of Fargo. So I think I remember when I was a kid, I had a really nice. It was like a 2 disc limited edition DVD. I think I got that from Blockbuster, and I must have been like, well, because it's an 18 in it, so I would have been too young to buy it. Um, so yeah, I don't know how I ended up with it, but yeah, I don't know. I think as a kid, I just thought it was a really cool film that like had a lot of like funny deaths and shit. But then watching it as an adult, because to be honest, this is the first time I've watched it in probably about, well, I don't know, a long time, like at least 10 years, if not more. Um, and yeah, watch it as an adult. I think I got a lot more from it. I don't think I realised how cool the ending was before. Um, and that it actually really struck me this time, because it's. I think what I really like about it is just how it plays with your expectations. Sort of like from kind of like saying that it's a true story when it's not, and then I think it kind of encourages you to make a judgment on who the characters are and how they'll be and that kind of thing. And I think they always surprise you. Um, and then all the way down to the end where they bury the money and you kind of expect there to be a big payoff, and it's not. It's just lust. Like I really like the way that it kind of it encourages you to think certain things that aren't actually what it's about. And I think something that I really like about Coen Brothers films in general is just like the little details that it's so easy to miss like so many things, and there's a few examples of that in this, like the whole thing with the car and like the dealer sticker being on the bumper and that being part of why it's a bad thing for the father-in-law to go and do the meeting and all that stuff. Like those little things I think are really nice to kind of like just sit and try and look out for in Coen Brothers films. And there was a couple that came out to me this time. But yeah, generally speaking, like I don't really remember a time before Fargo. I've always really loved it, and yeah, I'm glad I picked it for the reason that watching it as an adult, I think I got so much more from it.
Nice. Um, I actually maybe I was gonna say maybe Rachel should go first, but I'll talk first. Um,
Maybe someone else should, but I'm
'cause,
taking it.
um, it was interesting. It's always been on my list to watch. Um, but I never got around to it, and it was all right. The the um husband that Jerry plays, what's his name?
William H. Macy. Which, to be honest, I think I've given him a bit of a bad rap in film club, because the last 2 films he's been in have been quite Weasley dudes.
I mean, he did a great job acting in the role. And it was interesting finding out that every single stammer and whatnot was actually written into the script,
Mm,
which shows on part not just his ability to do it the way that the Coen brothers want it, but also their writing to make it as kind of believable as possible, even though it's such a far out situation. Um, his character did annoy me. I was just a lot through the film. I was just like, oh my goodness, this guy's he is dumb. He really isn't that yeah, he's dumb. Um, and even though it wasn't a real story, it was interesting to find out like what kind of different situations they based it off of. So which parts were based in reality. So even from like the smaller things, the couple at the dealership at the beginning, I can't remember which brother or which of the writers it was, but one of them had that experience pretty much verbatim. had a car dealership, and it's just like, yo, we're riding this in. Um, I was like, man, fair enough. And then in terms of the crime side of things, the instead of kidnapping his own wife, that part of the crime, there was someone who paid someone to have them kill his own wife, but that ended up very sloppy and they escaped to the neighbors and a whole bunch of mess happened. And then the other kind of story was one of the biggest ransoms ever paid at that point, which was like $1 million. Um, and that kind of what was it? The two people involved in that, they got caught, but then retried, acquitted, and then one of them went on a killing spree afterwards and killed pretty much the whole family and anyone pretty much related to them. It's messed up, pretty grisly, like this film. Um, but anyway, it I liked hearing the Minnesota accent. I never really hear that accent. I don't watch anything that will have it in it, to be honest. That's not a surprise, but it was nice. And though I can't say how well they did it, it was I had a good time. Um, yeah, it was fun. Um, even if a little frustrating at times and annoying, and not because of anything bad. It's just, of course, you have certain characters, and you can get frustrated along with them. Like when um the lady cop forgot her name, main character is questioning
Mark.
the two because at first, March, thank you. It's just like, uh-huh, yeah, 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 funny. It's like nothing else. Obviously, it's for the sake of it. It's just like, oh, but yeah, I feel you.
I do love the
But yeah,
payoff of that
anyway,
though. Like, I do love the payoff of later on where they're interviewing the manager and he was like, yeah, he looked a little weird just in a general sort of way.
yeah, it's like, oh, you too. Okay, I guess it's the
She's
thing.
gonna turn cold tomorrow.
So, but yeah, that's my opening statement.
When you said that you found his character so, I was like, well, he's not gonna say relatable next.
Huh?
I said when you said you found his character so, I thought, well, he's not gonna say relatable.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh man. But yeah.
Apparently, William H.
I,
Macy read for it, like twice. He did it the first time, and they turned him down. And then he got on a plane and followed them and read it for it again because he said, "I don't want you to fuck this up. You got to hire me for this bit." And he was like, "You can't really do that
it,
too
it,
many times as an actor, but that was the one time I was glad I did that."
there's a famous line he said as well, a famous dark joke he said.
I don't know.
He said if you don't, he said so like you said, he was really desperate to play it and where they wouldn't like cast him. And then he was just like, if you don't cast me, I'll shoot your dog. It's a joke. But it obviously all together they must have been like, you know what? Why not? Listen.
Why not let William H Macy
Uh,
shoot our dog?
what a I mean, it's a dark comedy. But what a thing to say to someone you want to hire. Kill your dog. It's like, what? No, no, no. I don't actually mean to.
Wait, did he say that like as a joke in real life? I missed that. Well, it's starting to make sense that he's like I was thinking myself too. He always plays these like really like low life like characters. The one thing I'm most familiar with him in is in Shameless. That's my major connection to him. So it's just like not yeah, to see him in this again is just like wow, back to his old tricks. Or he was in this before Shameless, but
Is that the American version of the British show?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't realise he was in that.
yeah, he's Frank.
Oh, right, okay. The main character.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, okay.
yeah, he does a very good job.
Hmm.
He's one of the celebrities, one of the few celebrities I've run into in real life. By the way,
Oh, really?
I ran into him at a cinema. Yeah.
Did he threaten to kill your dog?
No,
No, that's good.
thankfully.
I think I've only actually
cool.
seen him in 2 of Rob's picks, and that's it.
I'm not sure what else I've seen him in. Have a look.
He's in one of the Jurassic Park movies with Tia Leone. He's like they're like an estranged couple.
Yeah.
He's in a few things. Wait, oh yeah, and he was in Boogie Nights, right? That was the other one, right?
Oh yeah, he's in Magnolia as well. He's in Curious George. Wow. Yeah, to be fair, it looks like he's done more like TV than film. Oh, he's in that film you like, Rachel, Pleasantville.
Oh right, yes, of course. That's a good one.
I don't know if I like it. I think I had to teach it once. I know what you mean, but I don't think I particularly like it. I think I just had to teach it. Yeah.
He was a Marmaduke?
Oh,
yeah,
wasn't it Seabiscuit too? Seabiscuit, was it? He was like the announcer guy, maybe?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. He's done a lot of smaller stuff. Or, I guess, smaller roles. So, yeah, even though he's a very familiar face, and obviously we've seen him in Boogie Nights, I don't think I've watched almost anything he's in. And yes, he's in Jurassic Park 3. He's in the third one.
And Cellular, that movie with Kim Basinger and Chris. Wow, there's so many Chris's. The Captain America Chris.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, yeah.
Yeah. That guy. I almost said Hemsworth. And I was like, that's not the right term. Apparently he played Scoot in the Wild Thornberrys.
Oh, the animation, the card. Yeah.
And he also played a character. He played 2 characters in Batman Beyond. Carol and Aaron or something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
Lots of.
Bloody, oh, I know where I knew him from when I was younger. He was in Mystery Men. He was the dude with the flat top.
I don't know if I've seen that properly all the way.
Do you know what?
Emmanuel is incredulous.
I remember seeing it as a kid, and I have like vivid memories of it. But I'm just looking at it now, and I've only just realised that Pee-wee was in it.
Oh man! But he's in a Miyazaki film.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's either Pee-wee or it's somebody who really looks like Pee-wee. Let me just confirm it. Yeah, no, it is Pee-wee.
He plays he plays an American voice in a Miyazaki film.
Oh really? Oh, no, to be fair, everyone has.
He plays Satomi in The Wind Rises, apparently. Wind Rises.
Oh my
Sorry.
god, the Mystery Men's cast is actually amazing. Hank Azaria is in it as well, and Tom Waits.
Ooh,
are you listening
sorry,
off the Mystery Men? What?
Yeah. This is
Oh, okay.
blowing me away a little bit.
And if anyone saw the last Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, he's in that as well.
Yeah, he is.
What? Oh
Not
my
seen that
gosh!
yet.
What did he play? Oh, what did he play? I forgot.
He was the old guy who was like he was a
Trevor.
human, but he
Yeah.
was kind of like mentally on the side of the apes, and he was
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah,
a conservative kind of guy.
he was kind of a dingus in that one too.
Yeah, I saw an
Yeah.
interview with him where he was like, "Oh, I just love playing a rascal."
I like how he got a bit of benefit of the doubt there. He was like, he's kind of a dingus. He's not. We're not going to give him full dingus, but yeah, he's getting there.
Well, after you see him in Shameless, like he's top dingus in that one, and then it's all down after that.
Man.
Right. So I think we should go back to opening statements, and I believe Rachel is overdue.
Okay. Yeah. I really liked it. I thought I liked it more than I thought I would. I didn't really know what to expect, to be fair. Just that Rob liked it, and so therefore he was hoping I was going to like it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. The whole like based on a true story. I guess in a way, I kind of clung on to that at the very beginning, didn't I, Rob? I was like, oh, it's
No,
based on a true story. This would be really interesting.
No, you really
You
disappointed.
did?
No, you disappointed me on that because I was like, "Oh, this is going to be so
Why?
fun." Because I went going into it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be so fun when I can tell her that it's not a true story." And then as soon as it opened and it said this is a true story, you looked at me and you went, "Is it actually a true story?" And I was like, "For fuck's sake!"
Well, I just thought I'd check. By the way, I went into it thinking it could, like, so I didn't know if it was a true story, but I went in watching it. Okay, like actually, either way, the events of what happened, like, are believable in a sense. Like, I didn't when I got to the end of it, I didn't think actually. You think about, I guess the movie kind of focuses on kind of, I don't know, desperation for money and kind of, yeah, doing anything to kind of to get money. Actually, didn't feel that far off from it potentially being a true story. It kind of feels that sort of thing you would maybe read, be like, oh gosh, wow, somebody's husband like did this hoax, and with the rich father-in-law. Like, it didn't feel too far off. It actually seemed believable, so it didn't actually kind of bother me too much. Because I think, like I said yesterday, I kind of got to the end and I was like, oh, okay, well that actually could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if her husband or wife did that. And then I thought again at the end, I really I can't remember her name, Maggie, I think, yeah, Margie. I really liked her. Is it Margie?
Yeah.
Margie, yeah.
Margie, yeah. I really liked the bit at the end, like Rob said, when she kind of spoke about, yeah, money's not kind of everything. And I really liked her character. I think in a way, her being 7 months pregnant or whatever, and obviously seeming a bit slightly, but I don't know if the word bumbly, but like, or ditzy in some sense, but then also being kind of the most intelligent and kind of on it in the same kind of way. I thought she played her character really, really well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was really great. I really liked the contrast with Steve Buscemi, and I can't remember. I don't know who the other guy was.
Peter
But he's
Stormare.
the other actor. I don't know what he's called. Say it again, Alec.
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, the Swedish guy. I think we could. Yeah, we looked at him on Wikipedia, didn't we? Yeah, I thought their kind of contrast and acting was really strong. But yeah, I really enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a good film, more than I thought I would, and I kind of liked that everything was just kind of happening in, yeah, kind of like relatively quiet Minnesota. It was interesting.
Yeah, basically like ditto. This is something that I think Rob's been trying to get me to watch a couple of for a while as well. But like it's one of those ones where like you kind of never find the time, like everyone's everyone's trying to watch where everyone says they're gonna watch Lawrence of Arabia, and then like you never really get around to it. Like it's just one of them. But yeah, was really really impressed with this. I thought Frances McDormand was like incredible. Really like her character. But yeah, just really strong stuff all around, really. Yeah, I had like I had 2 points where I went, don't know about that, and like they were very very small, and it's literally just like for the joke. It's this he's a funny looking guy one, and I was like, for God's sake, like it is just for the joke. But I'm like, try a little harder, like ask like his eye color or his hair color if he has facial hair or whatever. But like I get it's for the joke, but I'm just like, But other than that, everything's like just super tight, and yeah, I thought I thought Jerry's character was pretty fantastic as well, and just having them sort of have a bit of a cat and mouse game with each other, where like Marge is just sort of like a naive. She's a cop from like a small town, and she's just kind of a bit naive about things, and she's just a bit folksy and everything. But like Rachel said, she is just on it. She's like the most on it out of like everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice little it's a nice dynamic for her to have in it. And it's only until she has the conversation with her mate that she's like, you know what? Maybe I should check out that Jerry guy as well, because he might be like my old mate back home who I thought was nice, but turns out he's a bit of a nut job.
Mm.
And it's yeah, and but I love yeah I love Jerry's character where like he's kind of done all this out of desperation, and then the minute it looks like he's looking up, he's like, you know what? We don't need to kidnap my wife. It's okay. But things have already been set in motion, and he's like, oh God, oh jeez. And he's still surprised by all the consequences of it happening. Like he's never like he never intended for any of this to actually like play out the way it does, but like it is playing out the way he has, and he's not forceful enough of a personality to stop it all happening. And it's just kind of getting away from it. I thought that was really nice, just watching it just all kind of just spin out of his control. Like, yeah, really impressed. Really, really like this. Sorry it's taken so long to get around to watching it.
I think that
Oh,
that scene where he's rehearsing the phone call. that's
Yeah,
that's like
all the big stuff. Yeah.
that's one of my favourite like characterizations of anyone in any film. Because it's just like it's such a funny thing that he's gone through. Like I just yeah, I think it's so brilliant that he's gone through all of this to the point where he's got his wife kidnapped, and he's got like a vague idea of what he's going to do after, but then he's standing at the phone and he just doesn't know how to break the news. Like it's just yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Well, that bit's so great as well, because he's going like I'm gonna, and he's going through like all the lines, and then he's just like, oh fuck it, and then he calls him, and then he gets the attendant, and like where he's been practicing having a bit of a wobbly voice or a bit of a hysterical voice, and then he's just like, oh yeah, wait please.
That's the kind of thing I mean though. Like I think like that's one of the things that I really love about the Coen brothers, because I think a lot of filmmakers would have like done that kind of scene, but they wouldn't have thought like how absurd it is that he needs to practice how he's going to tell his father-in-law that his daughter's been kidnapped, but he has to go through a receptionist to do it.
That was
yeah.
a good example of how dumb he is. Like, you gotta sound panic all the way to all the people.
It's stuff like that. That's just instantly reminded me of that bit from The Big Lebowski, like when he's in the supermarket and he's just getting a couple of pints of milk, and then he's just kind of writing on something, and he's just writing a check for like 86 cents. It's just something that's just so absurd, but like it's just very real.
Yeah.
Oh man. Did the check bounce?
Probably. But I stuff like how Margie just sort of like responds to things, like someone just comes out with like the maddest thing ever, and she goes, "Okay then." She just kind of we'll just keep the conversation going right on ahead. Like the bit when she's talking to the girl, and he's like, "What do you mean funny looking?" And he's just like, she goes like, "Oh well, he was uncircumcised." And he's like, "All right," because that is how you would react.
That was something I wanted to ask you about actually, Corey, because just because you're the closest to Minnesota.
Oh,
So
okay.
apparently,
Because you're uncircumcised.
apparently, all of that stuff is like it's a not a satire, but like it's kind of poking fun at like this thing called like Minnesota nice, which Minnesotans are apparently known for. Yeah, I thought you might know
Yeah.
more about it than we do.
Do you know what? Like this, did see like I haven't seen like a lot of like it. The American Midwest is like you would like I think of like the American Midwest as being similar to this, and yeah, and I didn't know how close Minnesota was to the Canadian border for one, and yeah, they like what the Minnesotans in this movie really encapsulate a lot of what I see like Americans parroting Canadians as being like when they're making fun of us, like very similar to this, and I was really I've never been to Minnesota, but yeah, it seemed very Canadian to me,
Mm,
as the stereotypical Canadian.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because that is one of the things that I think is really interesting about it. Is because like so Margie is apparently like her whole character sort of started off with like just Minnesota nice and like this whole concept of like just somebody from a small town who's super polite and just kind of like goes through life by being kind to people and that kind of thing. And yeah, I really like that she's got that kind of like makeup, but she's the person who's putting everything together and going like, hang on, these are the people killing everyone. Like
But she's still upset that Peter Stormare is like having to go to jail. She's just like, why did you have to do this for like a load of money? And she's like tearing up a little bit, just going like, it's a lovely day. Why? Why'd you have to do that?
yeah,
And it's like it's not like we're gonna let you go. But she feels bad that he's chosen to do this, and she's just like, you know, you got to get in trouble for this. But like, I'm just, she just seems like quite sad that he has to be, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
you just get. And then she says like, I don't understand it, and I'm like, that is like, yeah, that just sums you up entirely, doesn't it? Like you don't understand it, like.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did like I could briefly just do my intro. I was trying to piece together what I wanted to say. So Ben has mentioned this movie a few times. I had never seen it. And it is one of the like these kind of movies, they're more like, like really like grounded in like reality and like the small details and um and really I didn't like, yeah, my scores were kind of like a little all over the place. Overall, I enjoyed it very well. And I thought the acting was fantastic. But I was a little, I think these movies are just a bit like more subtle for me. Like I kind of want something a bit more like, I like there were some parts of the story where I wish I knew a bit more. So like, but I'm aware that this kind of story is like purposefully like holding things back, not telling like giving us everything. Like it was a bummer for me that the money was just like lost forever. And I kind of wanted to. Oh, and did we ever find out why he needed money? Why William H. Macy needed money in the first place?
Not
William
that
H
much
Macy
money.
didn't need the money. He's a very famous actor. The guy, yeah, sorry. But yeah, no, it's the GMAC conversation. So um, the guy who keeps phoning him up asking for the serial numbers. Um, the point of that is that Jerry is taking out loans from this company and using that. I'm probably going to butcher this. I was making sense of it from a Reddit thread, so we're all in big trouble. Um, but he's organizing the loans, and then he's supposed to pay the money back when the customer does, I think. But he's just keeping the money for himself and signing it off onto like a different car or something. Basically, he's scamming them. So the fact that they're asking for serial codes to check that the cars exist is him. Yeah, he's basically just got a shell company that he's doing it all through, and the cars actually don't exist. He's just making up the serial codes. Is my understanding of it. But he's
Okay.
scamming them basically, which is why he needs the money.
And I
Oh,
think
so then
that's
that
While that
hmm?
You could go ahead. I'm just saying. So that's just something that like I was like expecting to like learn more about, but maybe it's just something that I just didn't piece together myself from what the movie gave me.
Yeah, I think
No,
that
I didn't get it either. That's why I didn't look at it.
I think it's quite like specific knowledge to be fair, because I mean, I like even different American states do things differently like that, don't they? Like, but yeah, I think that's also the significance of the Sierra as well, and why that hasn't been registered, and why he's so reluctant to say that it's been stolen. Because if that car doesn't exist, then that's just another. Well, it's just one that he doesn't have to worry about so much, or it's one that he can use to replace another one that he's waiting on, kind of thing.
That's something that I quite liked when you're talking about the Minnesotan niceness, though, because he kind of weaponizes it.
Mm.
Whenever someone asks him a question that he doesn't want to answer, he just goes like, "Ah, yeah, okay," and they're like, "No, you didn't answer what I said." And he's like, "Ah, yeah, okay," and she, "No, no, no, hang on." Ah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that's another nice payoff as well when he flees the interview. Like, so he's kind of like, because it's I mean, obviously it's at the point where he's getting frustrated and the mask's slipping, kind of thing. But the only reason he gets away with that is because Margie's so trusting of like people in her, not her neighborhood, but like people in her area, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought he was actually going to go count the inventory. I didn't know he was running off.
It does kind of
I
that's
thought
what I was saying at the start. It's one of the things that I really love about this, because you do kind of slip into exactly what they want you to think of everyone, and you do kind of take, even though you can see he's doing all this awful stuff, because he's got this kind of like facade of being a nice guy. You kind of, or at least I do. I feel that I watch him and I go like, this guy's awful, but he's got himself into a really difficult situation that he doesn't know how to handle. So I find myself like letting him off a bit. And then at that point, like, even though like I've seen this film however many times, I did kind of slip into thinking like, oh yeah, he's going to go and count the cars this time. Like...
nope. That's thank you for that. I had a similar question to Corey, but um, even though, like you were saying, Alec, I thought so. He's looking to get like 320,000 whatnot from this car loan, and I was assuming that that was going to go towards the 750,000 to pay for the parking lot, which he was going in with his dad and Stan Grossman, since they're putting in money as well to do all this kind of stuff. But even if I was just like, okay, if that's separate money that he just needs to pay back or whatever, 300 some thousand, he's gonna put maybe another 300 and some thousand to the parking lot. Where's the rest of the money he like it's never really accounted for in terms of, not that I guess it's one of those things that aren't really important. I guess they feel in the film, but it's never really explained explicitly why why he thinks he needs 900 and 900 and was it 960,000 dollars. I'm just like, what? Wait, because I when he said a million, I was just like, wait, what? Why do you need that much money? Like, where is this going to? Like, what are these? How much debt are you in? Have you gambled some stuff like off seriously? I was just like, man, you must be really deep in it. And then that was never really, I guess it was, yeah, it wasn't really gone into further. But I was kind of expecting that he had some loan shark somewhere. I was expecting that to come out the woodwork. Like he's done some stuff, like he wanted to hide from his wife. And like he almost lost the house and everything. But he's really bad at the gambling, which is a classic story.
I think
Mm.
Was it the money to also pay off the criminals as well, for them to take half of the work as well?
They,
That's why he asked so
they
much.
only
He was going to.
oh sorry. They only
Go for it.
wanted initially 40,000,
No, 80,000.
but they raised it to 80,000 when it got messy.
Well, it was going to
'Cause
be. It was the deal was always 80,000. This is what I thought. The deal was always 80,000, but he only gave 40 at first, and then he was going to give the other 40 after they successfully did the
No, no, no.
ransom.
He wanted
No.
40 grand, and he was gonna. They were gonna ask for 80 grand and then split it between them. So he takes 40 grand and then they take 40 grand. But
Mm.
Steve Buscemi was like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. Why are you paying the ransom and then taking half your money? And he said, no, it's because it's not my money. It's my father-in-law's money. So he's trying to get the father-in-law to pay the 80 grand so he can take half of it.
How did it turn into $1 million?
Because that was the conversation at the dining table with the father-in-law and Stan Grossman. That was the
Yeah.
whole thing about how they weren't going to take risks and they were going to go along with what they were saying and they were just going to pay them that amount.
Yeah. And if he didn't need all the extra money, so let's say he needed around about 600,000. If he didn't really need the extra 300,000, like in case he didn't owe that to someone, how was he expecting to use this money without his father-in-law really thinking anything was up afterwards? Like, if that's the case, it just shows even more so how dumb he is.
But
I think that's it, isn't it? It's to kind of highlight it. Go for it, Rob.
Well, yeah, that was just the whole thing of it spiraling out of control, wasn't it? Because he sort of started with this like naively small idea that he was going to kidnap his wife so that he could collect a ransom on her, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger from all directions until he just completely lost control of. Well, he didn't really have control of it to begin with, but he further became out of control with it because of the personality of his dad and his father-in-law and Stan Grossman that he didn't account for, and then also the personalities of the people who were doing it for him, and then also like you've got this other moving part of the licenses which are being chased, and like there's just all this stuff going on that he had no control over, and that's how it became so big.
Yeah. I did really like the character of the father-in-law because I just think like just so typical of somebody who has money and feels like the insistence of wanting to hand it over himself, like it's my money and there's no way hell anyone else is going to hand it over because I've worked. Like, yeah, I quite not liked him, but because he wasn't necessarily meant to be likable, but I thought yeah, the way they kind of created that character I thought was yeah, it was great just in terms of from the whole film. It was clear that he'd obviously distanced himself and took no responsibility for the husband. I can't remember what he even said at the very beginning, but he was like, yeah, I'm here for my wife and my grandson, and then kind of yeah, just the continuum of that throughout the whole film, and the stubbornness right until the end, obviously till his death. I thought was great, really great.
I felt sorry for it. What's the wife and daughter's name?
Oh, then
Jeannie?
the wife's name. That was Simon, wasn't it?
And Scotty.
Simon?
I
Yeah.
thought it was Simon. I thought it was Simon.
Oh, the son, sorry.
Anyway,
Scotty.
the wife. Who?
Jean. The wife is Jean. The kid is Scotty.
Right. Okay. So I felt really mostly bad for Jean because her husband was willing to put her through that to cover his butt and get his money. And then eventually, yeah, you see that her dad like willing to gamble with her life again because he doesn't want to follow directions exactly. He wants to, protect money. He's like caring more about his money than he's caring about the well-being of his daughter. Felt like, but yeah, it really like early on, I started to really look down on the character of Jerry because like he was putting his wife through that and he's putting his son through that too, and I was just like, wow, scummy guy.
It's interesting, I guess, kind of like when you just mentioned about the wife and then like the treatment of the dad. Because I guess the depiction of women, and then obviously kind of makes Margie kind of stand out more, I guess, in a way, in terms of actually you didn't really see the wife doing anything apart from like really chopping and cutting in the kitchen kind of the whole time, and then obviously the other women that were in there were prostitutes, and so like there wasn't really any other kind of real strong depiction of women. So I think yeah, just kind of made me think when you mentioned that actually kind of made Margie stand out. Yeah, stand out more, I think.
I love Margie.
That's got a good thematic thing you put on there. It's kind of the film depicts like this is a man's world, but a woman comes in and basically sorts it all out. Who Margie's character is. She's the only one that's kind of competent. Everyone else is incompetent. Every single character just thinks they know what to do. Every single one is just like, yeah, I know how to. I'm gonna con these people of all this money and I'm gonna use my wife as a ransom and so get these guys, these expert killers, basically to kind of do this abduction. I'm gonna do this and that, and they come completely mess it all up through the not only incompetence but just circumstance, and things just go wrong. Things that will go wrong, and it's one thing after another, and it's a cause and effect, and everything is that happens has a consequence, and that's why I really like this film, because I think I mentioned to some of the guys before and Corey that this film kind of was the blueprint for Vince Gilligan to do something like Breaking Bad, because it was the whole idea of this black comedy where this one person tries to do one thing right and it ends up going horribly wrong because they think they're an expert of this field, and if it turns out they're not, and it just kind of like, this is what's going to happen if you meddle with things you don't know what you're talking about. And that's kind of like Walter White is just like William H. Macy's character. He's trying to fuck the system up and just trying to do his own thing and do his own way and try and make a quick buck on something he feels he's an expert or he assumes won't go wrong and everything's going to be fine. Going to do this in and out, quick and no rough stuff kind of deal, and it all gets fucked up. And I just really love that, and I love the fact that Margie comes in, and she's just an old woman who just does her day job is just being a policewoman, and she just does it well and she does it right, and there's no funny business. She's not really swayed by anything. She comes in and she does her job, and she's got a loving husband that's willing to do anything for her. She has to get up at like 4 a.m. He wakes up with her, makes her breakfast. I thought that was really wholesome, and that they're in it together. They're like this perfect unit. And they just function, and it's like, yeah, this is inconvenient, but I'm gonna get up with her, make her breakfast, so she's fit and healthy the rest of the day. And she's just like, yeah, she's not swayed by anything. She just comes in and does her job, and because she's smart and she does what needs to be done. And even if she sounds a bit slower and a bit funny because of the accent that everyone has in that part of the world, it's kind of like, no, she's probably the smartest one in the film because she's not like swayed by like her own hubris. There's nothing there that she does that kind of like makes her seem like, oh, I'm better than anyone else. She never thinks that. She never does anything that makes her. She doesn't think, oh, I can do it this way to just for a shortcut, save time doing this. She doesn't do that. She doesn't do what everyone else seems to do. So I thought that was quite just the stark contrast to everyone else. So I thought that was a really, really great writing for all of them, but especially her because she's no nonsense and comes in and sorts it all out, and then goes back home with her husband, and yeah, her baby's on the way, and she just goes back to sleep, and that's it. That's her day done.
Yeah. Yep. Makes her the toughest woman, to be honest. Like, because not only is she pregnant and she had to deal with morning sickness, she saw dead bodies, and with the morning sickness, and she was like, no, hold it in. Okay, yeah, no, that's yeah, okay, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so it's like, because she's police chief as well, So all of her, I guess, like, it wasn't like mentioned in the movie, but her husband was also a police officer, and like that's how they met each other. It's one of those backstories you read in like the credits or like on the sidebar, like FYI stuff. Yeah. You're just like, oh right, yeah, they're both policemen, but like she was the better police person. That's why he was like, I mean, like, I guess I don't need to be a policeman. I'll just retire and just like paint pictures of mallards and stuff and be like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's like, oh, she's a tough cookie as well, and she's very. Essentially, it's like, Oh, well, I really actually haven't done my opening statement. It's an interesting film about a small time cop dealing with big time crimes, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's a nice thing to see how that would work, and seeing her, especially her facing off against I can't remember his name now, the character right at the end with who was putting Steve Buscemi in the wood chipper, and how she went through all that, just by herself, and it's like. That's a very dangerous situation, but she handled that with such I like to say grace, and I was like, yeah, it was handled so well, and it's like, yeah, it could have gone way worse, but it's like, yeah, it's not that sort of film. It has a lot of I don't know how to explain it. It has a lot of sillier bits in this film, but it's like it works very well because again, it is the dark comedy aspects of it. It's just like saying, oh right, yeah, it's just like people are dead. Okay, oh, so that's a big story in this little town of ours. Oh, it's supposed to go snow, and it said, oh yeah, the weather's coming in the front. Yeah. Right, as Manuel was saying, the word "yeah" was said 140-ish times in this whole film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 With the backstory, just to add to that, because like you were saying, they also said that apparently, like you said, they were both police officers, and when she got pregnant, they said, okay, one of us needs to stay home, and they decided she would stay because she was the better officer. But I was confused. Both me and Camilla were confused. Why did he quit before the baby came? That was what I was kind of confused about. I was just like, it makes sense that you could
Mm.
staying at home, but why are you already at home? You've got 2 more months left.
Yeah. I mean, he was paying for the postal service, wasn't he? He was doing that competition for the stamps. So it's like he could get. I think he was painting as a job, and he was getting money that way, which is what he got for his Oh, what the fuck did they say? It was for 3 cents, 3 cents for his stamp.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got the 3 cent stamp. I was like, it's only 3 cents. I was like, no, it's important because when stamp prices increase, that's where you get your 3 cents from. Yeah, your stamps get used for post. It's like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay.
Plus, to be fair,
Yeah, but he could have.
But to be fair though, this was 1987, so this was when one person working and one person staying at home with the kids was normal.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's just that there were no. That's not what I'm saying against. He wasn't. There were no kids yet. He was just chilling, going fishing. Most of the time, he wasn't even painting.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he had to quit the police career for other reasons. Some people eventually just get too weighed down by the job and have to change gears. He did a really big 180 to go from going to police work to painting. So there could be something there.
Yeah.
Oh
It might
yeah,
not
yeah.
also-
Like
it might
if
not- So go for it,
Sorry.
Mania. There you go.
the only reason I was like, huh, was mainly because they gave a backstory to his character that didn't completely curl over in my head. If they said nothing, I would have thought like you said, Corey. But since they said something, I was just like, I'm confused. But carry on. Sorry, Rachel.
No, it's okay. I was gonna say it might not necessarily even matter in a way, but maybe just serves her character in kind of being heavily pregnant, still going out and doing the work and still being very competent and kind of able to do it. So in a way, it's kind of strengthens her character and how good she is, because actually, for whatever reason, he's taken a step back, but she's still out there kind of kicking ass as a policewoman, pregnant, and he's kind of actually almost subverting gender roles or kind of expectations in a way that kind of pushes her a bit more to the forefront and kind of supports her characterization. So I know it's frustrating, but I also don't know if it really matters, because in a sense it's kind of he's at home because he's obviously a bit more of a I don't know, media kind of type, but you know what I mean? Like, he's not out there he's not gonna be protecting Minnesota in the same way that she is. So he's better off staying at home. She's better off, even though she's, I know, X amount of months pregnant, like actually doing a really good job.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I it's just one of those really small things. It doesn't really matter all that much. And like you said, I get in that way. I get why they're doing it. It's to serve her character more. And
Yeah.
a lot of things they do for reasons like that. Like even the scene where she goes back to visit Mike, and even though it's a weird flow in the film because it doesn't, even though it happens naturally, it's still kind of, it feels weird, and that happening gets her to question Jerry more and go back to see him basically because she's like, okay, if everything that seemingly kind of innocent, slightly suspicious guy, but seemingly okayish guy was saying was a lie, how much of what Jerry's story was was actually a complete lie? He seems suspicious, but like maybe I should push him more, and that serves the character more. It's just I think it's just the way they've written a few things that I might prefer it done a different way. Anyway,
That's fair.
Yeah, I guess in an idea what I'd liked more backstory, well, not subtle backstory, of more about what her dad was. Sorry, no, what I'm talking about. What her husband was doing and why he wasn't working, and it might have helped being like, oh yeah, you broke your ankle and you're no longer being able to work on the force, and say, oh yeah, sure, whatever. But as my wife's going to be pregnant, I might as well get used to this kind of like lifestyle. So maybe something an offhand like sentence
yeah.
like that, where it's a conversation where they're going to kind of like paint a bit of more of a picture of why he wasn't doing it, because obviously it makes sense if they already had a kid there and there was a baby actually in literally in this time period, that would solve that problem entirely, wouldn't it? Because oh right, yeah, he's staying home because he's looking after the kid and she's got a second child on the way, so that would be interesting. But yeah, it's just a little nitpick, I suppose. But yeah, that's what I would do to change it.
I don't know
I'm
if I
not.
really want a concrete
I'm,
reason for why he's at home. Like, I don't know. I think
Mm.
it's
I'm not sure how much of a problem it is anyway. Like, I'm happy for him to like, because at the end of the day, she's not home a lot of the time. She's going
Hmm.
off at weird hours. She's gone for most of the day. You need someone there doing housework and just kind of keeping her fed and stuff. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't even consider that to be a problem that he's taken a step back.
Mhm. On another side of it, which is I found it cool anyway that they it's a very common thing to have um couples or married couples in the force in the UK especially anyway. And when I was talking to one police lady in like UK police, she was like saying how it's very common to see the kind of children handoff in the car park because a lot of the time they end up with another cop because they understand what the life is like those hours and everything. So there's a lot of times where the parents will come to the car park, hand off the kid to the other one, and the one goes into the shift while another one goes home. And it in terms of the backstory was we was like, oh, that would make sense. It's kind of cool. They're like basically saying we don't really want to go through that, so one of us needs to stay home. So it in that kind of relation to like real life kind of cop couples, I did like that.
hmm.
That was cool.
Yeah. I think I think the thing for me is I just really like the contrast between like their relationship and everyone else. So you got like the two criminals are kind of going out and finding prostitutes, and they don't like have a real connection with anyone. And then you've got obviously Jerry organising for his wife to be kidnapped because he's got himself in trouble. And like everyone outside of their little bubble are just doing like these really like huge bombastic things, but they're not actually connecting with anyone. And then you've got them two are just kind of like sitting at home, and there's not like outside of Marge's job, like, and being pregnant and stuff, like they're leading a relatively boring life. But I just really like the way that they're kind of like seeing the world because of their situation as opposed to everyone else. And I think watching it this time, my favourite scene became the end. Um, because I really liked how you had all this like big amazing stuff happening, and it's like what I was saying earlier, where they're kind of like encouraging you to think things. So you've got all this big stuff going on, and then like the burial of like nearly $1 million, and I think it's kind of like leading you into believing that maybe Margie's going to find that $1 million, and that's going to be the big payoff, and like her pregnancy is going to become so much easier for it. And the thing that's important isn't the $1 million; it's that his painting's now on a 3 cent stamp. And yeah, I just love that kind of like the $1 million doesn't matter. The 3 cent stamp is everything that matters. I think that's really cool.
The thing I loved how much they supported each other. Like they just
Mhm.
I was writing in my notes just like um he's making sure that she leaves with a proper breakfast because she's pregnant, and I was like, I get the sense that he'd do that if she wasn't.
Mm.
Like they both just seem like completely like I don't know they're taking interest in each other's lives and hobbies and that, and they're always trying to sort of just encourage each other and push each other up, and I was just like, that's really nice, and that's something that you generally kind of don't see in like I don't know, just Hollywood films in general. It's usually it's usually something a bit sort of rattier, or the one half of the couple wasn't really a character
Mm.
or something like that. But like yeah, these two just they they didn't seem to have like too much going on, but they were propping each other up, and I thought that was really nice to
Mm.
characterize.
Yeah.
I did have one the part near the end where what maybe it was the very end when she was driving that blonde guy to the station, like she had arrested him and she was
Mm.
talking about she was confused about she was just like trying to wrap her head around why somebody would do that, all that for that small amount of money is what she was saying, right?
Mm.
And I did kind of just like I didn't love the kind of like I loved Margie's character overall. She's like fantastic, but I just kind of wish because like the how someone comes to be a criminal like isn't obviously is like can be really complex and it's not it's obviously like I truly don't believe it's not always just a matter of just purely money that some gets into a criminal life. There's like so many things that go into it. So I just kind of like that, like her. I just didn't really like seeing the like hero police woman kind of just like shaking her head and like saying like you've chosen this life, like you're kind of just like she's like kind of just like not really understanding it, not really grasping it, and I don't know what I guess I've just kind of just like tried to shine a light of just like something that I just didn't really love about that conversation. But yeah, I don't know if anybody gets what I'm trying to say, get at, but that's just how I felt about that.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh, Sorry, were you gonna say something, Rob?
No, no, go for it, man.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. I kind of
Mm.
I agree with you. At the same time, I was like, when I was watching it, I was thinking, I guess she's saying that, not expecting a real response, but more kind of trying to wrap her head around all of it and not really understanding from like the place she's grown up, the place she is, why would someone do this? Why do people actually do this kind of stuff? Which is a kind of strange one because she's a cop, but I guess they're trying to make it a reflection of yeah, this stuff doesn't really happen around here,
Yeah.
or people around here don't really do this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, maybe I don't know. Unlike um what you were saying, Rob, before about kind of way that the film leads you,
Mm.
I must be very pessimistic because a lot of the time, like the only thing I knew going
Please
into the
don't
film
do this.
was, huh?
Please don't do this. Sorry, continue.
Don't do what?
No, it's all right.
Uh, okay. I was like, oh crap, am I doing something really bad? Um, yeah,
It's a
the only
really
thing
nice
I
ending.
the really nice thing.
It's a really nice ending. Sorry, continue. Go on.
Oh, I wasn't gonna make a comment on the ending.
No.
I actually kind of like when he got arrested because it's kind of like the one of the true crime stories. But anyway, that they based it off of. Wait, it inspired them. Anyway, yeah, the only thing I knew going in, sorry, was it not being a true story because I remember growing up and that being the famous thing. Like of it, like them going around saying it's true, and eventually saying, yeah, it's not true. Um, and I think the cast must have pretty much stayed quiet for most of it because I think they did know as well. I don't know when they found out, but anyway, I expected the worst from a lot of things. Like I didn't think the money was ever going to be found, or if it was going to be found, I thought it would be some random passerby and their dog. Like maybe, like I expected no payoff from that. When like as soon as like Jerry organized this whole thing, I was like, oh crap, this is all gonna go south and this is gonna be a huge mess. Gene might die. Like I was expecting like just everything going wrong. Um I mean a lot of things went wrong, but fortunately Jean survived. I did not. I mean she did survive, didn't she? Yeah, because she was
No,
on the floor. Oh, she
I thought
didn't.
she was. I don't think she's.
No,
No, she was killed. I think he
no, she was.
implied that she was making too much noise, squealing, and he
Yeah,
killed her because she wasn't
yeah.
moving.
What
And she,
Margie said kind of implied that she was dead.
Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
it
remember
wasn't
what
Fair,
she
very
fair.
said
clear
exactly, but
either, but yeah.
she said there's that. I think she said 3 bodies or something, and or something to do something like that, where she implied that there wasn't anyone left in the cabin alive, hence why she
Yeah,
left.
the three bodies was on the motorway. It was the
oh,
cop, and then the two people that saw him with the body of the cop. That was the three.
Oh yeah,
And then I think I thought they had a bit of an argument. Or he made a comment about it when Steve Buscemi came back to the cabin, and then she was tied up, but she wasn't
Yeah.
moving. And he said, "Oh, like she was squealing too much," and like I got the impression that because of his, there wasn't really a reason to maybe keep her alive. Was kind of the impression that I got
yeah.
from
I
what he
think
said.
Margie
Yeah.
definitely confirmed something, but you're right. She kind of is left. She must have like
Yeah.
passed out and just maybe died out of malnutrition or hypothermia or something like that. Something horrible because she was just neglected, and that's probably what killed her.
Yeah, at the cabin,
Yeah.
Carl finds that you killed I don't know, killed Jean because she would not be quiet. And then Carl said they should split up and leave immediately, and they argue who keeps the car. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think when she made the comment that so that was Jean on the floor and that was your friend in the wood chipper, which is also a reference to a real case. I'll say in a minute. Um, I was kind of hoping that maybe some ambulance picked her up. That she was just unconscious, but what I thought would happen happened anyway.
Mm.
So but yeah, I was just like it's just like the whole kind of thing is as soon as the dads like want to get involved, it's like, okay, wait, he wants to give the money. Okay, so he's gonna die. All this is gonna happen. Why I didn't expect um Jerry to run off. I didn't expect him to cooperate. Like I expected something to go down. Like once he left that room when she was like doing interviewing him, I expected something to happen. Like either he gets in a ton of trouble because he's not wanting to cooperate, or his boss is like going after him. Like maybe he gets chased away. But it was funny when he just was running away. That was great. Um, saying that the wood chipper scene, might as well mention it now. So there was um it was inspired by a true murder in Hellcraft, in in Newtown. I don't know where CT is. Is that it's not Carolina. Anyway, in some state.
Oh,
Yeah, I think so,
Connecticut?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hellcraft was murdered by her husband Richard Kraft in 1986, and he disposed of her body using a wood chipper, but enough of the tissue remained to positively identify her. Uh, there's there's a lot of like grisly stuff they reference in this film. I'm just like, eesh. Even the guy who hired someone to kill his wife, like crime they referenced, he kept denying it. Like I think he's still in jail, but he kept denying it the whole time. It's just mad.
Just to go back to Corey's question about the final like car scene, I think I kind of would see why she spoke about money in the sense that she obviously knew there were two accomplices, is that the right word? Yeah, like two criminals she was after, and obviously catching him with the wood chipper. That bit was about money, really, wasn't it? Because in a sense, it was kind of a bit like, well, getting rid of your partner in order to take like the full ransom or funds and like the car and stuff. So I kind of felt like that. Like, obviously, I know that in terms of why people turn to criminality and so on is obviously quite complex, but I felt like in that sense, it was kind of like, yeah, the money of killing your own kind of partner in that situation was also around. Yeah, it was kind of like what people would do to have that. He could have gone off with half the money. He obviously wanted more, and that was more of a comment on that was the way that I kind of think about it. But I don't know if that might just be me. I don't know.
That makes sense.
His foot was sticking out, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was such a great shot. I really
What's that?
enjoyed that.
One question I did have, and I said this to Rob a couple of times. I know it's not important, but I'm going to mention it anyway. The parking situation. Why did everyone either like everyone park? I don't know if this is a American thing, but like parked sideways, like at a slant. And then obviously that shot where he was obviously in the middle of, you know, he gave himself a really long walk back to the car after he'd been rejected from his dad and the business partner or whatever. But I was like, what's the parking situation in the snow? Why is everyone not able to like park in a sensible place? I don't know if that's the thing, but it really bothered me a
I can
couple of
just
times.
imagine that,
When
like,
he first walked, sorry, go ahead.
no, go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, when he first walked to his car, and I had no idea what he was in. I'm like, what is this situation? Because you see all those like partition thingies, or and I'm just like, what is happening? Because yeah, I'm used to snow being cleared away in parking lots. You know, I that confused me too. Eventually, I realized, oh, these are parking lots they're in. Whatever.
It's weird. He was kind of like parked just directly in the middle. It was a great shot, but it's still, yeah, but like, oh,
Yeah,
you
I
give
don't know.
yourself the best
I can
option
just
there.
imagine, like, if you live in a small town where it's constantly under like a few inches of snow, there's probably just a common agreement where people go, let's just park wherever the fuck we land. Like, don't worry about where the lines are. They could be anywhere.
Yeah,
That's what
it also
happened.
makes. Oh, sorry.
I'm done.
Oh no. I was gonna say it also makes me think. This is why he wanted a park. He wanted to go into the parking lot business in the first place. It makes it sound like there's no real good place, to be honest, that's actually well maintained at all, like near where he lives, and that they'd actually make their investment if they just made a decent parking lot. Even though it seems like, why would he want to go for a parking lot? But even these two guys are just like, actually, this is a decent idea because they also recognize, yeah, that there's no decent parking lot here.
I do really, I really like that characterization of him as well, though, because because they kind of like dismiss it at first, and the father-in-law's like, "Oh no, I've been in parking lots before. Like that's a stupid idea. I lost my money," kind of thing. And yeah, like that little thing is just like, oh, it's just another thing that he hasn't thought through. And then when you find out actually it is a good investment opportunity, and maybe he has put more thought into it than it seems, he still hasn't put thought into it because he thinks that his father-in-law is going to give him the money for him to invest when he's clearly not. Like yeah, I think that's a really nice characterization as well. Like when they're like when he's like finder's fee, that's not what I wanted. I want to buy this myself. Like,
Do you think he took the finder's fee?
I mean, it would have made his life a lot easier if he did.
Not that it matters now, but
Well, when he brought that deal to his father-in-law, was it a real deal? Like I thought he was just faking something just to get
yeah,
investment money. Was he?
yeah, no, it was a real deal.
Oh,
They invested it themselves. And after, like Rob was saying, after they actually investigated more, they realized actually this is a good deal. Like this, like we could go in this independently if you don't want part of it. Like,
Yeah, it's all a bit like I don't know. That's what I was saying. Like you don't even know he's like obviously a complete knob, and he's just doing like awful things to cover his own tracks. You do feel a bit sorry for him because you kind of think like he's kind of I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have a grasp on like any kind of like normal interaction with anyone. Like it's just
he didn't have a grasp on many things.
yeah,
nope.
yeah. And it's
Saying
really
that when oh, go on.
I was just gonna say like it's really similar to his character in Boogie Nights as well because it's like all of this stuff's happening around him that's like out of his control, and the only thing that he can do to take back any control is shoot people. Like
Oh,
it's just yeah.
I forgot about him in Boogie Nights. Like I forget his character.
I felt so bad for him.
Mm.
Oh, what in Boogie Nights or
oh.
this?
Oh, and Boogie Nights.
Yeah, Boogie Nights. He went through a lot.
He's hard to feel bad for in this.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh crap! I just remembered his end. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was messed up. There's probably a reason why I forgot how his character ends in that film. Um,
That's the thing though. You can imagine that
but
character becoming this character, like if he didn't kill himself. Like,
I just
yeah,
remember him talking to his talking to his mate while his wife's getting fucked. He just keeps and he's like, "Can you fucking look at me?" Sorry. I really like that film.
yeah, he definitely has a through line with his characters. Yes.
Uh,
When why do I keep forgetting the best character's name? Marge. Okay.
Marge.
When Marge, yeah, when Margie went to the house without waiting for backup, even though it was a different situation, it made me think of not The Shining.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes. Thank you. For some reason, my brain keeps mixing up the names of those films, even though in my head I know it's not the same thing. Anyway,
The
it makes
Shinning of the Lambs.
my what? Anyway, sorry,
Careful, laddie.
I'm
You
gonna,
want to get sued?
Yeah, they shouldn't.
but yeah, when she goes towards the door to kind of rescue the girl, and here she's going without backup when she knows that there's a killer there as well. And I was just like, oh, I hope this ends well. Please don't you end up something happen to you as well. This guy is not, it shouldn't be messing with this guy. But fortunately, he runs instead of attacks her, which is great, and gets shot.
I'm surprised he doesn't attack her though. In a way, like considering his character, I guess the whole way through and what he'd been built up to be, like. We see him not really take any not remorse, but like any care towards Jeannie or Jean, whatever her name is. He's not. He went out of his way to drive to get the other two. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious about why.
Yeah,
maybe
it's a bit.
Attack Joan Rand instead.
Yeah, it's a bit out of character because like he just finished killing Steve Buscemi's character with his axe, so it's kind of like if he was to throw that like log at her, I'm pretty sure he could have rushed her. But I was like, maybe maybe that's not what they wanted to go through because it seems a bit. I mean, it would ruin. I mean, it would make sense for him to rush her, but I was like, oh, that's not the sort of movie we want to go through. We want it to be like we want the scene with the big scenic snow. Which I've got to say, I didn't realize Minnesota had that much snow. It's a very picturesque like film. I don't know how to explain it. It's like with the like sheets of snow there, but like the final shot should be him in the snow and him getting like injured as well and falling down in the snow, like it's like he did for like the other guy that he shot in the nighttime where he gets shot in the snow and just falls there. It's like just like just to like wrap it all up in a neat bundle. But I was like yeah, his character definitely would have like tried to attack Margie for all intents and purposes, to be honest.
Unless it was done on like purpose, though. Sorry, Corey, I'd like to like there is a slight empathy because she's pregnant. That's like off. I don't know. Maybe it's like pregnant women off limits. Like because he wasn't really running to anything. He like the snow was so vast. I don't know. It was like I let her off. She's pregnant. I'll run this time. No.
Did he know she was pregnant?
I mean, like she's got. Even with the actress, everyone told her initially for the movie, everyone's like, "Wow, you're acting really good for being like moving like how a pregnant lady would move." And she's like, "Well, I had like 5-pound pillow like on my stomach. Of course, I'm gonna move like this." So like that bulge was pretty like obvious. So it's kind of like we probably noticed. Maybe I don't know. It seems like. It could be the case, but it'll be like the pulling straws.
Yeah, because like he was it was so noisy. She really crept up on him, and so she was completely stationary when he first noticed her. And I thought, I was apprehensive when she decided to go for him all by herself. Especially since she knew how many people they had killed up until this point, and one of them a police officer. So he had like no qualms about like killing a police officer. So yeah, I was a little like confused that she would go after him all by herself. Because she's pretty savvy. Like she's a police chief. She was good at her job. So I did think that was a little unexpected.
Were we just talking about why he didn't rush her?
Yeah.
But she did.
Yeah, why he ran from her as opposed to attack her?
Because she had a gun.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he has a gun and he still ran. Why would you run from a gun?
Simon, if you're held at gunpoint and you've got a block of wood, don't try and rush him.
Well, I mean, like he threw the block of wood first, then afterwards, he got the axe still there, so it's kind of like, I don't know, he could have. I feel like he, as a character, would have took the chance, to be honest.
I would have thought so as well. I agree with
that. I think if you're weighing, because if she's stood there like pointing a gun at you, I think you'd take your chance of like making the target smaller rather than running at her.
I mean, like his character
by running away. I mean.
Yeah, but like, I mean, for his character, it was a bit like not a bit of a nutcase. Anyways, I'm saying he's the guy who. I mean, like, you could kind of tell the sort of character he is when the first like breaking in scene where it's kind of like Well, that was a whole fucking mess in itself. Like, I don't know about what was the actual like kidnapped lady's name? I can't remember now. It's Jean. Was yeah. Well, fucking with Jean. I mean, like this is a whole like section we can nitpick itself. It's like she saw the dude with the balaclava at the window. She didn't react. She only reacted when he fucking like smashed the window. I was like, I don't know if she was like really into TV or she was knitting or something, and it's just like it took her a good solid minute for her to go, oh shit, someone's actually breaking into my house. I don't know what.
Like,
I think she was in shock, to be fair.
Yeah, like I think there was a moment where she's kind of going like, okay, how the fuck do I react to this? Like, it's because I mean, even the other day, like the other day, Rachel looked out the back window and she went, "Rob, I think somebody's in the garden," and it turned out to be the umbrella, but it was still like we didn't like do anything other than look. Like,
yeah, okay, yeah, but I don't want to.
Are you constantly looking out your window for someone in a ski mask just in case they walk past, and you just got a gun ready just in case?
That's the American way.
None of my life.
America.
That was actually one of my favorite scenes because of how hilarious she acted. She was just like sitting there like watching, what is this man doing outside my window? And then she freaks out when he breaks the window. Thought that was hilarious. That was if I could like start early and say that was going to be my favorite scene, that was my favorite scene. But it just occurred to me though, like a guy with like a balaclava or like a ski mask, like wouldn't be that out of the ordinary in that weather. So I'm just like, maybe that's where she didn't immediately go.
Fair enough.
This is a criminal, yeah. But
I'll give you that.
Like, there's a little. I just understand. You know, it's like if anybody's ever been in just like a really like like later on you realize that it was really bad, but your first thoughts are like you're just like rationalizing it. And you don't immediately go to like the worst case scenario. You kind of just like, explaining it away. So like, actually now the more that I think of it, I'm just like, that actually might happen. Somebody might just stare at somebody and be like, what's happening? Yeah. So
I think that's the thing. Like, I think if she'd have reacted in a more kind of like assertive way, I think I'd have been going like, well, that's like she hasn't processed this yet. Like, this is like, but I think the thing that I really love about that scene is that like even though he's underneath like a full mask, I think it's acted so well because he looks so stupid. Like he's just kind of like looking in, just like, and she's sitting right there, and I think that adds to it as well because I imagine if I was her and there was somebody at my window in a balaclava and they're looking into the room that I'm in but not seeing me, I think I would be going like, all right, how do I handle this?
Yeah. I don't know if it's just me, but
if she instantly like went from watching TV thinking she's just having a normal day knitting to absolute combat mode. I have more questions.
Not even combat. I mean, the kind of better reaction. The thing, I'm not criticizing anything. I think she reacted like there's many people who would have reacted pretty much the same way as her, which is why I didn't have a problem with it. It was like I was just like, please don't let her die before they actually take her out. Like I thought she was going to hit her head on something or like drop out the window and like break her neck. I thought many things. Was like
she almost does. Yeah.
Well, yeah. When she fell down the stairs, I thought, oh well, she's dead.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, yeah. It's just like I was like, I didn't. Yeah, there was a lot happening during that scene.
My favourite thing watching it this time was the scene where he goes upstairs and the window's open and then he looks in the mirror and it turns out that she's hiding behind the shower curtain. So when she jumped out from behind the shower curtain, Rachel was like, oh, that's a good idea.
I think to me, what was the silliest thing that the guys did is, well, maybe it's just me being me, but why did they do it in broad daylight? Why did they kidnap her?
That's another. Yeah, that was.
No, but I think there is logic behind that because obviously like the town is kind of like so spread out that wherever you live you're kind of almost in the middle of nowhere. But also because the front of the house had those massive windows, if they'd have done it at night, it would have been more obvious because it would have been lit up. So it's.
And also more.
I guess because it's so bright with the snow as well.
Yeah.
He had to
It's
not be home,
also-
and so did the son, Scotty, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scotty would
otherwise,
be
yeah.
at school during the day, and Jerry would be at work, so there'd be less people
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's fair. Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could have been an
Also-
interesting thing that could have happened is that she could have literally died when she fell down the stairs. And I think the film practically could have been the same story if she did, and they could have just pretended that she was alive. And that could have actually been quite funny. The fact that those guys were pretending that, oh yeah, she's fine. We want the ransom, blah, blah, blah. And the
If
fact
they
she's
did it
just
like-
her dead body taken to the cabin, and that would have been
I was
horrible
I was
but
actually
hilarious.
surprised that she survived, because I thought after she fell down the stairs, they were telling us that she died, but then she was alive again, and I was like, oh, okay. I thought
Yeah, exactly.
with
Yeah.
prodding her and her not moving that indicated she was dead, but
Ben, have you,
Honestly, it could have still worked just fine if she was dead, because the
Yeah.
same thing would have happened at the end.
Ben, have you ever seen Weekend at Bernie's?
I was gonna say that.
God damn it! Yeah, I was thinking about that exactly.
I think if you think that's a good
No.
idea, you will love Weekend at Bernie's.
oh,
Have
God.
not
Oh,
seen
Bernie.
the film.
I'm
I will
It's
put
really-
this
it's, very, it's,
on the
it's
list.
funny. It's good.
But to add
nothing
to, I was
horrible
going to
happens
say,
in it though, so Emmanuel won't like it.
what? Oh my goodness! If you knew what I'm thinking of picking up for my next pick,
No.
Well,
it actually I haven't. That's
The only way
that's-
is up, Emmanuel. Why here?
A weekend at Palmer's.
Just try and
Oh,
make
man.
it a happy one.
Yeah, Hope 2, The Reckoning.
No.
Revengeance.
Please don't think that of me.
Hope 2, Hope Harder.
Oh my goodness.
That's a horrible title. You should be ashamed.
No. Two things I was going to add. One, I think my take again, just my to finish my take on her kind of being in shock and whatnot. I think probably one of the best things she could have probably tried to do was just run out the front door. Obviously, the other guy would have been there to catch her, to like stop her, but that would have been one of the most wisest things to do in the situation. I
To be
think
fair,
you
though,
have to.
remember that there's nothing around, so she wouldn't have anywhere to hide if she did run out the front door. Like, it's not like a city where she could like weave in and out of streets.
Yeah, but she's trapped inside. You're gonna run. Most people either go in shock or they run away from the danger. Just kind of like the guy at the end. He runs away from the danger that is the woman. There is no necessary logic to it. Like, there might not be a car that works. I mean, if we think of Night of the Living Dead, but you run away from the danger.
I can see why you wouldn't though. Like, I can see why you'd think, okay, like this is my house. There's places I can hide in here, whereas outside it's just snow for miles, and they'll probably catch up with me.
Yeah, you'd
yeah.
play to your strengths, which is the house that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't want to run away from Peter Stormare. He's quite tall. He's got long legs. Right. I think he could probably run you down if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Fair.
that's a point actually. Obviously, this goes back to the other ending scene when Margie shoots him dead. No, he doesn't shoot him dead. She shoots Peter's character, but it cripples him and takes him in. Why did he run straight out into the middle of like literally the frozen lake?
Mm.
So back into the forest.
Yeah.
But that was a very short-sighted moment for him.
I think that's yeah, that his character is a bit of a strange one because he's just like
Yes.
he's kind of like, I don't know. Well, both of them are inept in their own ways, but like he's just like, yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of the choices he makes, it's just like, Jesus, dude. Like, because that's basically what it all spirals from, isn't it? Is that they get pulled over and then he just, well, it just takes matters.
He just is so unhinged. It's like both of them are like one of them is a sociopath and the other one's a psychopath. But both of them together is just such a lethal mix of just like unpredictability and just insanity. So yeah, I can excuse whatever actions they do because they're both nutcases. But yeah, it's just it's their own fault. They do it to themselves. Whatever
that's
choices they make, that's what.
But I think that's another really
You might-
interesting thing about it, though, is that like Jean's one of the only people that seem to make reasonable choices, and obviously she ends up how she does. But yeah, everyone else is kind of, I don't know, sort of like skittish and all over the place.
No, when he decides to go and run off into the snow and be like, yeah, a very like obvious target amongst all the blank white snow. It occurred to me that eventually some criminals want to get caught, like they're just done. It's a lot of work and stress, and yeah, so he might have just been done. Like considering what he was just doing, ew. Like I think a lot of people would be like, this is enough for me.
Yeah.
Anytime you find me feeding Sleepy Semi into a wood chipper, I'm done.
I don't know if it was me, but I think maybe I remembered it wrong, or if I got confused with the TV show or another film entirely. But I just remember him running out into the ice and then falling through the ice and dying. So I was like, oh, hang on, that probably could have worked quite well in this film, but at the same time, I can see why they would have she took him in, but it could have worked fine if he died in the ice. He deserved it.
What happened, Ben? Literally, as soon as he was running, I was like, "Wait, is that the lake? Is he gonna fall through?" But when he falls, he doesn't fall through. He gets shot if falls. I was just like, I mean, either way could have worked out. That would have been quite funny. It's like she's about to shoot him, and then he falls to the lake. He's like, help me!
Yeah. And then she could have just pulled him out, and he died of hypothermia.
I mean, dude, it's like, well, I can't really help it. You see, I'm kind of pregnant here, so that's a help. I'll wait. I'll let people know you're there. Okay. When back up, I'll tell them about you. Yeah.
I did enjoy how like self-centered he was though, because like that was like the main factor in like catching Jean, because like Steve Buscemi like instantly thinks she's gone out like the window, and he like just runs back out, but because like Peter Stormare's just been bitten on the hand, and he's just like, right, well, I'm sorting this out. So he's just like, what about the girl? And he's like, don't give a fuck, I'm sorting this out. And he's like gone into the medicine cupboard and he sorted that out, and then he's gone, hang on a minute. But like, yeah, if he actually like cared about the mission, like it'd be fucked. But it's just because he's really selfish that he actually ends up catching her. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A kind of fun fact. After the kidnapping, when he's practicing his what he's gonna say, um, William came up with that himself.
Oh really?
That scene. Yeah.
That is
He's
such
like,
a good scene, man. I really love that. It's how they play it out as well, because they kind of it's another one where they play with your expectations a bit, I think, because you hear him talking on the phone before you see him, and then they sort of slowly reveal that he's practicing the conversation. Like I love it. It's like the whole thing is just played so well.
On the I don't know why Emmanuel's comments made me think of the IMDb trivia, and it says Joel Cohen had Frances McDormand and John Carroll Lynch conceive a backstory for their characters to get the feel for them. They decided that Norman met Marge whilst working on the police force, and when they were married, they had to choose which one had to quit. And since Marge was the better officer, Norm quit and took up painting.
Oh.
We just stepped back.
Good old gnome. We didn't need a gnome, didn't we?
Nom. I beat Ben to it. Take that.
I mean, like they did go to like eat lunch, like multiple places during this whole thing. He bought her what did he buy her? It was like, it was. I mean, like this series of crimes went over a few days, but every day it was like, oh, I bought you lunch. Oh, let's go out to eat to this place at lunch. It's like, it was very much family time during a police investigation. I was like, it was a very sweet moment during that. I was like, oh yeah, see how you go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ice fishing after lunch. It's very peaceful. And it's like, yeah, oh, the murders are still going on, right? And we're still doing the investigation. But I'm going ice fishing. Yeah, okay. See you later, love. Mwah. And it's just like, okay, it's unexpected.
I always really love that in these kind of films though, because I think that's something that like when it's kind of like a big kind of action film, one of the things that I always disconnect with is that everything's just like bang 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 crash wallop, and I kind of like I lose attention quite easily to that kind of thing. So I really like it when a film like this, and a film that's really good at it actually is Shaun of the Dead. I really like the whole thing of just like you've got this ridiculous thing happening and like everybody's like losing their heads like literally and like figuratively, but even through all of that like normality regimes and there's still like this little like even though this massive bombastic things happening, you've still got to eat lunch. And it's the same as like in Shaun of the Dead, like you've got like people are turning into zombies, nobody knows what's going on, but Shaun still hates his mum's boyfriend. Like it's
Yeah, that's why they have the guy goes, oh, hey chief, how's the chicken picante? That's a very offline. I just like it's just yeah, but I mean like there is a fine line behind it, because if it goes any further, it becomes the room where he goes, oh, hey Dougie, and he just touches it. I was like, oh, it becomes a bit too much, So there is like don't cross that like there is that fine line there. Just don't cross it. You're fine, I guess.
I like Noah's
He's married
character.
to one of the Coen brothers. Hey Ben.
This is he's married to is it Joe?
Yeah, Margie, the actress. Yeah,
I
interesting.
didn't know that.
Yeah. I was like, oh, cool.
And apparently, the blonde one, criminal, has 18 lines of dialogue in the entire movie and never says more than a complete sentence at one time. By comparison, Steve Buscemi's character has over 150 lines of dialogue.
I mean, like that's Steve Buscemi. To be honest, he's like he loves rambling. To be honest, and that's why we love him sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like if you hire Steve
that's
Buscemi, you've got to write like a few pages to make use of him.
Yeah. I think that was one of my favourite scenes actually when they're in the car and he's just like, oh my god, like, can you not give me a bit of conversation after 4 fucking hours when I'm doing all the driving? And then he's like, fine, you want silence? I'll give you silence. See how you like it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
total
silence.
silence. See how you like it. Completely silent. You fucking
Yeah.
see how you like it.
That's a
nice.
fucking perfect scene for him. Yeah.
Because people like that, and that's because they're me. I also liked Chet coming in and beating Steve Buscemi up. And then the neighbour coming and complaining about the noise, and then he bounces him off a bunch of walls as well. I thought I enjoyed how Shep did business.
I was just like, this is why they're showing why he ended up in jail. This is why. It also made me think of Night of the Living Dead. Think of Ben in that film. It's just like he has a good reason initially to start off with, and then he just goes too far. It's like, why are you doing that? Why are you beating this man in the hole? Look, he has nothing to do with this. Why are you kicking the escort? Did she do something to you? It's like he starts a war, but he's like, nah, you're all getting it. It's like, what the crap, dude? It's just like, careful, you don't want to go back to Stillwater. He's like, I'm not going back. Oh man, that was funny though. He was just whipping. Was he whipping him with his own belt?
Yeah, that was
man.
cool. He really went in for it.
Yeah. Oh man. One of the interesting things about I say some other things, like Frances, um, she she's really cool. Like she did obviously she did lots of research for the role, but one of the two things I found cool was she worked with a pregnant cop from St. Paul to research the role, and she also to work on the accent. The Coen brothers did give them a book and some other stuff to work on it, but she also worked with Hooker number one. I don't know which one that is. I can't remember to be honest. But she worked with Hooker number one for the accent. It's just like cool little things. Like, but even besides that, one of the things that I know America be crazy, and I'm just like, oh, like the people here, like there's so many people here that have no sense. Like, even though yeah, we know like many after the film that it wasn't like true, it wasn't a true story eventually. Before that was kind of made known, there was a lot of people who either bothered the police trying to like thinking that oh this is an unsolved crime, I can help them solve this, or try looking for the money itself. And it's, it's some people actually got doing all this kind of stuff. It's just like what the crap. This is a this is a movie. Like even if you think it's a true story, like I don't I feel like nowhere in the true story did it say I don't know. Maybe they thought, oh, this is an unsolved case. But I don't get where they thought that. Did they not watch the end of the movie? The guy got arrested. Like, I don't understand why was people bothering the police about this. Looking for the money, yeah. But why are you calling up the police? Sorry.
Did you just because we're on the subject of like true stories and that kind of thing? Did you notice? Well, did you watch the credits?
I watched the credits, but I didn't pay attention to them. So tell me.
So I pointed this out to Rachel, and I didn't tell her the whole story. But one in the credits. So you know Prince is from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's quite
Ooh.
famously from Minnesota. So in the credits, victim number one is credited as the symbol that Prince used. But the symbol that Prince used was vertical, and the symbol in the credits is on its side. So it leads you to believe that the person laying in the field was Prince, but it was actually the storyboard artist, or the storyboard artist formerly known as J. Todd Anderson, because he was using Prince's symbol but in the wrong orientation.
Oh,
I did
I
wonder.
saw that. I saw that symbol. I didn't know that was Prince's symbol at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was basically a joke between the Coens and the storyboard artist. It wasn't Prince at all. It was just the storyboard artist, formerly known and now known as Prince's symbol in the wrong orientation.
I had no idea Prince was from Minnesota.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, he's like you wouldn't guess it, but like
Yeah.
he's quite like well, he was quite proud of being from Minnesota. And when they did the Super Bowl in Minnesota, it was the year that he died, and they did a really nice tribute to him.
Oh, because like his accent, I've never, to be honest, I haven't seen a whole lot of interviews of him or anything like that. I've mostly just heard him sing. But did anybody connect tell by his accent?
No, he didn't really have the Minnesota accent, but that's why he used to use purple in like everything because of being from Minnesota.
Oh.
Mm, cool. Oh yeah, Simon, one thing you said earlier, I forgot to kind of add on. Um, Usually it is like very cold and quite a lot of snow in Minnesota, but that year was one of the two warmest years in the last 100 years, like in like the 100 year like past 100 years. So they actually didn't film a lot of it in like certain places and use a lot of fake snow in different scenes. Like so, some of the places a lot of the places to get real snow. Sometimes they film it more northwards, or actually in Canada. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
But it was
I don't. Yeah, carry on.
no, as I say, it was like just seeing like just because I mean it was just a single car with just like in that car park with just like a blanket of snow. It was just like it looks very pretty. Is what I'm saying. It's like oh if it's all fake snow, it's like oh that's a bit sad, I guess.
There might have been real snow, but I don't know which scenes were fake snow and which wasn't, because a lot of it was filmed like in like Canada in different parts, basically, where they actually did have snow. But then in some of the scenes they used artificial snow. I just don't know like which ones.
That doesn't look like a pea.
No, it was so Prince went through this phase of being the artist formerly known as Prince, and he was using that symbol as his name, and it's supposed to be like it's the male symbol and the female symbol. It's supposed to be that together, but with like some kind of stylistic thing going
Hmm.
Okay, I thought it was going
Oh.
to spell formally or something. So
on.
F.
That
So.
makes sense. I'm not surprised.
Oh, so actually, I'm just looking at it now. So the symbol, so the bottom of the symbol is supposed to be the Venus symbol and the Mars symbol together, and then the top of it is the Eye of Horus and the Yin Yang. But it's like an abstract version of it
Cool.
all.
He also has a guitar that's literally shaped like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, when he did the Super Bowl halftime show, electrocuted him because it was raining.
Oh,
Oh,
was it Purple Rain, Rob?
God, he was so excited for that one.
Purple Rain, Purple Rain.
all right.
Any-
So
any- Go on, sir.
no, I was gonna say, I mean, I think I was gonna say, anything else? If there's nothing else, should we go to favorite scenes? So I was gonna say it's probably the same things you.
Oh, I think I've done my favourite scene.
Yeah, I did. I mentioned mine.
Everyone done those apart from Simon?
Favorite scenes? Let me think. Oh right, yeah, actually. Oh god, let's turn on the camera for this. So, what is or who is Paul Bunyan? It's a question I have to ask people from like the stateside. It's like, is he just from what like I was like, is he just like a very famous like woodcutter? Then I realized no, he's a giant woodcutter that has a very large blue ox with him, and I was like,
A very large
it's
what?
mainly because ox. He's got a blue ox with him, and I was thinking, why does that sound familiar? Then I realised it's because in Magic the Gathering there's a card that's based of him, and I literally pulled him like a couple of days ago. It's this one.
Wait,
It's it's Bunny Paul. Oh wait, let me pull him out of the sleeve. Give me a second.
Yeah,
what's the name of the card?
It's there he is.
Is it Desperate
God damn
Dan?
it. No, it's wait, let me change my background. Let me unblur myself. There it is. It's Bunny Paul. He literally has. He's literally an axe. He's actually a giant woodcutter that has a card that summons a blue ox token, and I was like, "Oh wow!" I didn't realize that this was based off that. I was like, "Oh, okay." I literally I bought him like a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, fair enough."
Yeah, I've heard of Paul Bunyan. Emmanuel, do you know if what the origin is there? I don't.
Honestly, it was too many years ago I heard like the story of Paul Bunyan, and I didn't care, so I forgot it.
Okay, but the reason why is because like when you see him, like when you see the statuette, I guess, of him a couple of times, it seems very ominous. I guess it sounds like it's like you see it's like the first time you see him like in the night. Yeah, then after that's where they killed the cop and the two other like drivers. I was like, oh yeah, it's like so every time we see Paul Bunyan, something bad's gonna happen. This is what I thought was gonna happen. I was like, oh, that's a situation. But I was like, oh, is he? I thought there's like a bad like sort of like myth or something about it. It's like no, it's just a very big guy chops woods, and I was like, oh, okay. He's from Minnesota as well, I guess. Okay. No, I don't know. It's like,
does he have a bunion?
He might be. I mean, that might be where the name origins from. I don't know. But it's just like, it's just an American folktale.
Just got a great inflated foot.
Yeah.
Ironically, that statue wasn't actually there in real life. Like you don't see that statue when you come into Brainerd. Forgot the name of the town now, if I'm saying it wrong. But saying that it is there now, but it's in some kind of like some park or some. It's not an amusement park, but it's there in real life now. Just like how the wood chipper is on display somewhere in Fargo, and I'm just like,
oh, gross.
Really?
Okay, yeah, like you can go to Fargo and see the wood chipper. Like that's one thing to, I guess, like explain. Huh?
I'm just reading about Paul Bunyan. This is really interesting. So apparently the name Bunyan comes from a French Canadian saying, "Is Bunyan?"
Bunyan. Oh, so it doesn't mean that the growth on your foot.
Well, this is the interesting thing, right? So it comes from a French. Apparently, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but Quebecois. Apparently, it's from a Quebecois. So it's from an expression bunyen, expressing surprise or astonishment, and that's also where the word bunion comes from when you've got a lump on your foot.
Oh.
Isn't that weird?
I guess you are.
I suppose to be fair, like if you look down and see a lump, you are going to go like, "Oh shit, there's a lump." So I can see maybe how it got inflated.
It got inflated. Get it?
And apparently Paul Bunyan is also similar to the character of Bon Jean, which is apparently a French Canadian folklore thing.
Cool.
What was that second character you mentioned?
Bon Jean?
Yeah, Bong Joon-ho.
Okay.
After all this time, he was a French Canadian myth rather than a South Korean director.
Somehow I always knew.
Yeah, I think my favorite scene for Fargo, I think probably it's the moment when obviously the policeman pulls over the two of them by the side of the road, and Buscemi tries to bluff his way out of it, and tries to use the bribe on the cop with his driver's license, and then from that moment onward, it just goes to hell, and the guy doesn't take the bribe, and literally, what's his face? Just like shoots him point blank, face, kills him dead, and then after that, it gets worse and worse. I think that's a masterclass in like tension and how well acted and choreographed and shot that whole sequence is, just because the whole cause and effect of it all is just like it's in full swing. Yeah, he's dead. Quick, get him off the road. Quick, get out of the road because there's a car coming. The car sees it, and then what we're gonna do? The guy in the car literally just like looks like Pat on the corner. He just drives by, and it's hilarious. And then obviously they give chase, and then they crash and literally swerve off the road, and then he just runs off, and then literally gets killed, and both of them die, and it's horrible, but it's so fascinating. It's one of those brilliant sequences where he can't get any worse, but he does, and I just love that bit. Also, it is kind of a bit shit that the guy obviously once they crash their own car, he just runs off and leaves his wife in the car upside down, just to fend for herself, and he's just running off in the snow. It's like, wait, what's going on? You're not going to help her? But apart from that, it is a flawless scene. The whole sequence.
Yeah, not that it changes anything. I just assumed it was his girlfriend. And there's like memes of that from time to time of like you've got that guy instead of helping his girl runs off,
Yeah,
but
what for it?
do that. It's like
Yeah. Oh, I'm too scared. I'm just gonna leave her dying upside down, strapped in, whatever. But it just showed you that's like. But it's even so. It gave you that iconic image of that guy being dead, face first in the snow, and the red of his coat just standing out in the whiteness of the snow and the landscape, and just Margie coming to the scene. Because I think that was the poster of one of the DVDs. It's just literally the guy dead on the snow, and that's what Fargo, and that's it. And I thought that's so powerful, and it just represents the whole film of just like this blood in the white. But yeah, it's good. Hmm.
I'm still trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still need to say my favorite scene. I was trying to think of it, or I was thinking of it, but maybe. Hmm. I think. I think my favorite scene might be the one where Margie has come back to question Jerry again, and like Alec was saying, he's weaponizing. He's like, no, I am cooperating. I'm trying to tell you. And it's that back and forth. And then it just ends with him just running. Just like, and that I was just like, oh, because that did make me laugh. Like, he really is an idiot. He's the idiots of idiots. Um, but then as another favorite scene or moment at least, I did just I liked when Shep was beating the crap out of out of the guy with his own belt, like whipping him with his own belt, causing welts and like blood. And then the next scene, he's just like, "We're sorting this thing out now." Like, tired of this. Like he
Oh,
was in no before, and now he's like, "No, we're sorting this out now. You better come give me all the money."
There's another
fun
interesting
Sorry, you
fact
scene
said.
where.
about that one. Oh, you're
Oh,
gonna
you
do
go
it.
on. You
No,
say
I'll
it if
let
you
you
know
have it.
it.
No, it's your film. You have it.
Huh?
It's your film. You have it.
Oh, go on. You have it. You got there first.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Um,
Very nice.
when Steve Buscemi delivers the line, "I'm gonna meet up with you in half an hour. We're gonna wrap this up." There's actually genuinely only half an hour left of the film.
Yes, yes. Forgot
Spoiler.
about that. I pointed it out to Camilla. I was like, yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, you probably discovered that in real time with how much you pause and stuff.
I I read it just before it happened as well, to be honest. But then talked to her and then looked, it was like, it is 30 minutes. Great.
If we could make it so that that line was 30 minutes until this call ends as well, then
Okay.
There was some extra conversation at the end. I know I'm gonna ask I don't know about you guys. When I talk about magic,
Least
we can
favorite
make it
scenes.
least. Did you say?
We got to fill the time somehow. Let's do it.
I mean, I got some salted caramel dusting. I don't know if that'll help. I
That
can
doesn't
dust
help
it through.
people.
Okay. I'm just trying to help you.
I'm genuinely interested, man. What's salted caramel dusting?
I can't remember which store I got it from, but it's kind of like instead of it's salted caramel, and you can put it on top of coffees, teas, hot chocolates, whatever kind of like sweet drink you have. And every once in a while, I kind of use it on my stuff. Since I made some hot chocolate for Camilla, got some left, and I was just like, I'll make mine a salted caramel hot chocolate. Why not?
Oh, nice. If I get that, I'll make it into a sugar. I mean, salted caramel is a sugar, to be honest. I'll grind it up and I'll go give you some more vanilla sugars or whatever. We'll see how it goes.
That, by the way, I'm like halfway through that jar.
You're fucking what?
Yeah. It's become
That's a
What?
significant jar.
Puts it on everything.
You've at least shared it with Rachel, though, right? You're not just eating it by
I've had it in
yourself.
coffee. I've had it in a couple of coffees, but I am also trying not to drink too much coffee at the same time. But my
Okay.
cousin's husband really liked it as well, Simon. He was obsessed with it the weekend, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, what?
Nice.
The vanilla sugar that Simon made us.
Oh, when you said vanilla sugar, I didn't know you had made some. And I was just like, oh, yeah, this is not related to Alien. I made some vanilla sugar too. It's almost done. When because I made a cheesecake and I took off, I used the leftover pods and like that, put them in some sugar. And then I've been using this every while. I don't use it that much, but when it's needed.
Oh, it's so nice, man. And you know the best thing is, right? So in the jar, so there was like there was kind of like a band in the middle where the sugar had become like a bit kind of like almost like beigey. And I was always like, I was kind of going like, oh, I can't wait to get to that bit because that's going to have like such a high concentration of vanilla. And now I'm at it, and it's fucking good.
I'm going to try and learn to make pretzels for it, Simon, as well.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
that'd be nice.
Oh, pretzels.
Mm.
Ooh, nice.
And
Let us know how.
Yeah, and this all relates back to Fargo on how they were just talking about getting lunch and dinner at all these places, and just makes perfect sense. So, yeah, it's
Do you have Arby's over there?
No,
Arby's.
not yet. So we got Quiznos, but not Arby's yet.
Wait, there's a Quiznos? Where's there a Quiznos?
There used to be a Quiznos at Lakeside, but that shut down, and now there's one. Where's that shopping centre near your mum's, Rachel?
Southside.
Yeah, Southside. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, all I know is there's a Tim Hortons that's near Lakeside, and I've been there like twice, and it's actually really nice. I kind of like the donuts, to be honest.
Tim Hortons is alright, but I can't have the donuts, so I can't give a proper take on it. But the burgers they're alright.
What I would say about Tim Hortons, because there's another one in Park Royal, like near where I used to live.
One away, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Their drinks are way too sweet for me. Like, I've never had something so sweet. If it wasn't so sweet, I think I'd actually like all of their drinks, because that's what I was looking for. Because of people I know who've gone there and said, "Oh yeah, I love their drinks and this and this." I don't know if it's just over here, but yeah, way too sweet. However, the kind of chicken burger type stuff they do, actually quite like them. They're overpriced over here anyway.
It's quite expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, but like if you usually when I've gone in, I've had some kind of deal, so I've always saved money. I've paid like full price for something, or maybe I did once, I don't know. But since it was near the cinema, the Odeon there. But yeah, the chicken burger type stuff they do with the kind of fries and the kind of hash browns, all kind of stuff they put in there, and whatnot. I quite like that, but that was the only thing I in there. And like, even though I can eat those, I think I was put off by the drinks even from trying anything else because, like, you know what, this is just gonna be too much sugar for me. Okay, let me just get the food and get out. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the only Tim Hortons I've been to was in Chichester. Was it Chichester?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but yeah, I kind of like
You're
I
very
ordered
carried
too
away.
much because I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna try this next. So I got like a burger, a milkshake, a vegan milkshake,
You can
chicken
get a donut as
tenders.
well.
No, I couldn't have a donut because I was talking to a bloke in there who was ordering, and he said, "Oh, the best things in here are the donuts, so make sure you get a donut." And I said to the bloke behind the counter, "Have you got any donuts that don't have milk in?" And he just sort of looked a bit confused for a second, and then went, "No, probably not." And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to risk it then."
Oh, sad.
That's
Yeah.
Got loads of vegan stuff today though, so that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, it was all alright.
Oh,
Like, but it was all stuff that was like the burger
That's
reminded me of the burgers at Abbey Kebabi.
sorry. I'm looking for the lid to my hot chocolate. Anyway, carry on.
Wasted nearly half an hour, or we haven't really got there yet. Okay, so like
I hate to tell you this,
I guess
Simon, but I didn't look at the time when I said that. So we could be 10 minutes in, we could be 5 minutes in. I don't know.
Okay. Are there any?
9 minutes past 1.
Oh blimey!
I mean, like, yeah. But I guess the question now is there any like final thoughts on this film?
Ben, I can see
really liked it.
you're
That was good.
holding back. You're trying not to say the line.
Say the line, Ben.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
But
I
yeah,
want, even though you're much better than this, Ben, so please don't take this any personal way. I could imagine you doing the acting role for Jerry. Oh, that's like.
I said that, didn't I, as well? Yesterday, when he sat down in the office with the dad and the business partner, I said, "That's Ben."
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I did.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
mannerism
Okay.
were very the mannerism, and I think the way he approached the conversation, I was like, that really reminds me of Ben.
We're all going to get a little notification. It's like Ben.
It's
Is
nice,
now
it's
off.
not me.
Ben has left the Twitch channel. Poor little guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that horrible.
Oh yeah, we
It
as
was
a
horrible.
Oh yeah. Apart from all the horrible bits, you're just like him. But enough.
Oh, that we if William, well, possibly if he didn't go back like fly to the state, we might have got Richard Jenkins as
Really?
Jerry. Yeah,
Yeah, I read that on
they
the thing.
they were considering him first.
Who is that?
He
Ooh.
was in The Shape of Water. He
Oh.
was.
Oh.
Is it Giles or Giles?
He was
That's
the
what
dude
I
that
know
made
him
the
most.
key lime pie.
Hmm?
He was the dude who liked the key lime pie.
Yeah, I know the guy you mean.
I know him from
He was
Here,
in
John.
6 Feet Under.
John.
What else was he in?
He was in.
He's in Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, Cabin.
Yeah, Kevin the Woods.
He was
Channing
also
Tatum.
in the American version of that vampire film that Emmanuel Pitts. Shit, what's
Oh,
it
that
called?
right one in.
Yeah,
Let me in.
Yeah, he's in the remake of that.
Oh.
Or Let Me In. Oh, interesting. Actually, that kind of makes sense. I could imagine playing a role in that film, the remake. I wonder which. Do you know which character he played?
I can find out.
He was the little girl.
If he was the dad or if he was one of the other older people in it. I'm thinking about the original. But yeah, in general, thanks for even though I know you didn't technically pick it, it was on your list. Thanks for the film. So I eventually saw it, and yeah, even though the enjoyment was marred a bit here or there by some annoying characters, or some dumb characters, it was funny nonetheless. Did you want to say anything? Miller wasn't as big of a fan.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the scores now. It's funny. I
Yeah,
would have
she said
expected if I was to like put a bet on whose scores were whose, I would have swapped yours around. I would have thought yours would have been Camilla's and Camilla's would have been yours.
Oh dear, are they that bad?
Well,
Oh
they're
wow!
not normally.
Yeah.
They're not like Emmanuel's regular bad, but like it's.
Yeah, that looks a lot like an Emmanuel
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I did want to say it's not that I wasn't a fan. Like, it was a good movie and I really enjoyed it. And I watched the first season of the TV series, so a few things made sense to me or just were like familiar to me. It's just that I just wasn't in. I wasn't really paying attention and I wasn't in the best mood, so I just
Well,
yeah.
you've made an enemy of me, Camilla.
But I'd watch it again. I'm sure I'll enjoy it more next time I watch it. Anyway, that guy.
No.
Bye.
there.
Good night.
Any final words? Or are we
Yeah.
on the
Oh,
final?
jeez.
You betcha.
But that was and it was nice hearing the accent. But yeah, no more words for me.
Go for it, Ben.
Oh yeah, next movie is me.
I'm not enthusiastic.
No, this is going to be an interesting one because
You've done so many now.
yeah, it's one of Pat's favorite genres. I should give you a clue. It's set in Alex's favorite decade. Also give you a clue. It
Not
stars
the 80s.
it stars loads of like iconic comedians that originated from SNL of their era. It's basically it's one of my favorite musicals, especially for the 80s when it came out, and it's kind of like the first debut of Alan Menken and what was his name? Basically the two songwriters, lyricists, composers of the iconic musicals of the 90s, which were the Disney Renaissance era. It was their first debut. And this film is Little Shop of Horrors.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you understand why I love this film as soon as you see it, because it is just literally one of my favorite musicals of all time. Just because it's so weird, hilarious, out there, strange, and just unique. And yeah, you might not like it, but I hope you appreciate it very much, because it is just a joy for me. But yeah,
This is
gonna
be fun when everyone comes in and they've all seen a different ending.
Yes, this one actually has a different cut, actually. So it's up to you if you want to see the director's cut, but I don't think that's available anywhere.
I'm very sure that I've seen 3 separate endings for this.
I think there's only 2 that have been finished, and there's like a storyboard version, and then there's like a rough cut version. But like, there's the theatrical one and the director's cut, which is complete. So yeah, good luck trying to figure out which one you want to see. Yeah.
Do you know what's nice? Is
Also, yeah, it's Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. That's the musical duo who gave us Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Tangled.
Oh,
So,
what
yeah.
a
Tangled as
fucking
well, really.
low point.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
nice.
those-
This
those
is another
guys-
film that I've been trying to get Rachel to watch.
That was so bad.
never
Just
seen
hit
it.
after hit after hit after hit, and then you end on Tangled. And it's like,
oh, they did Princess and the Frog as well.
oh,
Prince.
okay.
Prince.
Was
Princess
that
and the
before or
Frog.
after Tangled? Yeah,
Love Princess and the Frog.
but yeah, they're good.
Awesome.
I look
Nice.
forward to watching it.